You call yourself an accidental entrepreneur?
Absolutely. I wasn't groomed for it. My father, who was leading the business at the time, I joined him in New York. He took me to some of the suppliers out there, some of the bigger ones, and he just introduced me to them. Whether it was some sort of forbearing, I don't know, because 3 days later, he passed.
Meet Dele Balogun, the second-generation CEO building on a 35-year family legacy. What started in 1989 as a humble kiosk in the University of Jos has, under Dele's leadership, become celebrations. One of Nigeria's most loved gift and cards retailers.
What did it take you to come into something you did not start?
I thought I knew everything. There was some vision I had of what it was. I also had a vision of what I thought it should be. And I came in with all this, my, PowerPoints and all of that. And I was like, yeah, probably won't work here. Initially, I'd always thought, it's just about opening more stores. Take a simple Clinton model or Hallmark model abroad, and then just replicate it here, in that sense. But we have to understand that, the market is slightly different.
He took the reins in his mid-20s and has focused on blending tradition with innovation, thoughtful gifting, exceptional retail experience, and steady expansion from Jos to Abuja and Lagos.
You speak a lot about people.
Sometimes we reward people for loyalty instead of competency. And it's one of the surest ways to sort of mess you up in growth. It's one thing to drop a nice PowerPoint and say, okay, this is the process of buying goods. The person that is actually going to do the thing is very important in terms of executing it. These things are probably 80% people oriented. You have to select the right people.
You have to fire some people.
Oh yeah, of course.
How have you been able to drive a culture of excellence?
Well, two things. One will be
guys, you're welcome to this episode of Venture Valley. Like I always say in every episode, the best way to support us is by liking, sharing, and subscribing. That way, you keep the channel buzzing, you keep viewers coming back, and you encourage more speakers to want to come on this platform and share with us the wisdom that they actually have gained through their years practicing and building businesses or enterprises with their knowledge and creativity. Now, on this episode, I have the MD CEO of one of the leading, should I say, luxury gifting brands in actually Nigeria that I know of, and I dare say they are moving African. So, on this episode, I have the MD CEO of Celebrations, and should I say Zimi? How do you
yes,
pronounce it?
Zimivo.
Zimivo. Okay. Yeah, no, the MDC of Celebrations, he's here with us and we'll be diving into his journey. Now, what I found very interesting about this particular story is the fact that he actually is second generation. He's actually not first generation. I mean, I found that to be quite intriguing. So join me, welcome the one and only Mr. Dele Balogun. Welcome,
Thank,
sir.
thank you for having me here. It's great to chat. You guys have a great channel, I must say. And I say that the quality of information you get from here is quite top notch.
Thank you.
So I'm just
Thank you.
happy to be here, hoping to contribute my own gist
Just
around entrepreneurship and this journey.
yeah, I mean, like when you came, I told you that I create this platform for myself, and most of the times, I know it sounds a bit eccentric, but to be sincere, I think that's what um, helps me not try to build it for the numbers or for sensationalism.
Mm-hmm.
It just makes me want to um, build it in a certain way that just adds value to me first
Yeah,
and hopefully
yeah,
to other people,
yeah,
because I believe so much in entrepreneurship,
yeah, yeah.
So for me, when I was reaching out to you to come on this particular podcast, I've actually wanted to get you on the podcast ever since.
Mm.
As a matter of fact, I had a friend who said he was going to help me do it.
Right.
Yeah, and then for some reason I never just followed up
Mm.
because this is not my full-time job.
Exactly.
So most of the time you find it hard to just bring people on,
Mm-hmm.
because you're trying to make out time to shoot, and all of that. But eventually we met,
Of course.
and the question that has always been on my mind is what was it like coming on board so sudden, mixing grief
Mm.
with responsibility.
Mm.
And I mean, it's not like you were necessarily, I don't think you were groomed for it.
Yeah. This is interesting. It's a good place to start, I would imagine. To be honest, I think it just depends on the person, right? And you're right in the first stance. I wasn't groomed for it. It wasn't like, I was always like shadowing my father who was leading the business at the time. So the backstory is obviously that he's passed suddenly. And then
Oh, it was a sudden passing.
it wasn't like he was ill for a while or something of that nature. But the interesting thing about how he passed was that that was the first time I was on any business trip with him because it was on a business trip and that's where it happened.
Really?
Yeah. It was in 2011, the year before. I had gone on one with him just for the vibes, to be honest. A year before, we went somewhere, went to China for a conference, and then the following year, I went on my own Yahoo, as we'll call it,
Yeah.
and then I joined him in New York for another trade show. And he took me to some of the suppliers out there, some of the bigger ones, and he, just introduced me to them. Whether it was some sort of forbearing, I don't know, because 3 days later, he passed. And I'd say that I think the shock, rather than sort of put me in one place, kind of moved me to do more. My father was a very, very hardworking person. Like my first memories of him were, carrying suitcases inside his Beetle. He had a Beetle, and going from Kano to Jos. Because they used to go and buy things in Kano for some reason then, or Lagos,
Yeah.
and bring them to Jos to come and sell. And that's just all I remember. That was my first memory of him. So I had this deep sense of, look, and it was all of us, my siblings and I, were like, this business sent us to school, gave us the lives that we had at the point. So we needed to create something, a structure that will make it stay.
How many years was celebration at this time?
Celebrations was this is 2011. Celebrations was 89. My math is failing me, but it's probably about 20. I'll say 21 years at the time.
Oh,
Yes. So yeah, it was something that we just all felt strongly about maintaining. And then because he also died on the job, I just felt so bad in a way. So the grief, to be honest, I think it was very delayed for me. I don't think I had a proper cry until about 3 years later.
mm,
I kind of just broke down in the office one day, um, where he used to sit, and I just kind of I guess the emotions just came at one
mm.
time. But all through that, it was just a case of, look, we need to move, make sure that this thing doesn't fall. This supplier is still in contact and all that kind of stuff. But thankfully, he had really good business partners. I think that was the good,
Oh, he wasn't a sole founder.
sole founder, but business partners in terms of vendor,
Vendors. Okay,
suppliers, and
okay.
all of that kind of stuff. They really, took me under their wing, in a sense.
Really?
Yeah, they did. I still work with some of them up till now. They basically, I think they also, because they had built relationship with them for a long time, they were very happy to, sort of coach me in that
But
sense.
where were you at this phase of your life when he passed?
In my vibe era. No, no, no.
How old were you?
I was 24, turning 25. I had moved to Nigeria. I was in Nigeria for about 2 years then,
Mm.
about 3 years, sorry. And I was working in the financial space. I was working with PwC at the point. Um, and yeah, my mind wasn't there, to be honest. I
Mm.
enjoyed what I was doing. It was quite interesting. That was the era of Nigeria Rising, when we used to see all those
Yeah.
McKinsey articles.
Yes, yes, yes,
Africa
yes.
Rising was what
Africa
the
Rising.
Africa
Yes,
Rising.
Africa Rising.
Aha. So, there was a lot of belief, we're all sort of trying to push through and all of that kind of stuff. So that was where my mind was, to be honest. And I just thought, there's a lot we could do. I think one of my clients at that point was the government. So we're doing some work and we're seeing some results, and it was quite exciting.
So your mind was not necessarily in the
It
business.
was not at all. It was not at all. So I thought I would be there for maybe 6 months, 8 months. I asked my office if I could take a leave of absence. They graciously agreed. And they told me there was some terms to it anyway. And then shortly before that expired, I went back to them and told them I wasn't coming back. Yeah. And it was just straight up into celebrations full time at the time. Yeah.
So how do you come into a business you've never ran,
Mm-hmm.
you've never operated,
Mm-hmm.
you've never been mentored,
Mm.
and then take that and start growing it to what it is? Like at this point, how many branches were you guys? Where were you guys as an organization?
Um, we started off in Jos, right? That was our big, that was what we started up. However, the crisis in Plateau State in 2001 meant that we had to
Move.
pivot,
Yeah.
move to Abuja, which was a great thing in hindsight. So we had some presence in Jos still, but we are just growing our Abuja operation. I think we had the location at White House in Abuja. That's still
Yeah,
existing.
still existed.
Still
That's the one I
existing.
know.
Yes, yes, yes. So that was where we were, basically at the point. And then I think I would say, let me preface this my non-mentorship loosely. I think there's a because you grew up in a business that is, family run. So my mom was in the business as well. We
Hmm.
used to see everything growing up as kids. We'll see the invoices, we'll see them, bringing trucks in with stuff. Because we grew up, I mean, our garage at our house in Jos used to be our warehouse, initially. So we'll help sort out stuff, we'll help, that level of involvement, I was there.
Hmm.
But in terms of the sourcing, I had no idea what was happening and all of that. But we're very much, we grew up around it. We'll go to the store in the afternoons after school or during holidays and just hang out and chill. And all the workers then used to try and spoil us. So it was nice in that sense. So for me, I think coming in, there was some vision I had of what it was. I also had a vision of what I thought it should be.
I mean, coming from a consulting background, I'm sure you had
Exactly, exactly. I
global
was like,
ideas you're
what is
seeing.
this? No structure here going on. And I came in with all this, my, PowerPoints and all of that, and I was like, yeah, probably won't work here after two after two months. But yeah, that's another story anyway. But yeah, it was. I think for me, it was about creating something. I wanted structure so that I could leave. That's what I thought
Hmm.
I was going to do.
Coming as a management consultant.
Exactly. Come and put in one or two PowerPoints, and yeah, it doesn't work like that. It doesn't work like that. It was it was tough because you know there's a clash of culture in some instances. Remember that these were people that had worked maybe 10, 15 years with my father. They saw me growing up. There was some age discrepancy in there. Some of them are like, who's this small boy? That kind of thing will be there. There's some of them that just did not, approve of the way I wanted to do things going forward. So I learned quite a bit.
Hmm.
I started changing things, and
That
then
must
I
have been
had to,
tough.
exactly, but I learned that I had to actually wait and watch and learn first of all before I started. I thought I knew everything, initially. So after 2 months, I had to relax, stop again, take stock again. And then that's what made me realize that this thing is not a 6 month journey. You need to actually understand what is going on here.
Hmm.
Yeah. So it's
So will you call yourself an accidental entrepreneur?
absolutely 100%. I did not think it was something, no, I didn't think it was in me, but yeah, it fell onto me. It
So
fell onto
6 months has turned to
me.
how many years now?
This is
15?
yeah, we're going to year 15, yeah, next year. So, and it's different things,
That's a long six
it's
months.
a long 6 months, and I've ditched the suit and ties. Yes, I'm not a Captain Gang person.
I
But
mean,
yeah,
but you, I mean,
I know,
that's the Abuja.
that's the Abuja vibe. Yes, yes, yes.
Yeah, but like, I mean, coming to such a brand,
Hmm.
at this point, you had how many branches?
We had one in Jos, which is a bit skeletal at the point, and then we had one in Abuja.
Hmm.
Yeah.
And how many now?
So now across both, we've got six, but we also have a business to business side of the business, and we have a digital arm to it as well.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, yeah.
So how did what did it take you to come into something you did not start?
Right.
Take it, understand it,
Yeah.
take it to where it is right now.
Right.
What
Right.
exactly were like the fires you had to put out and
Um,
structures you needed to put in place to ensure that growth happened? What?
Honestly, I think the first thing was understanding what what the value was that we provided. So, from the outside, yeah, it's a gift business. That's what you think about in that sense. But understanding the value took me quite a long time to get.
Mm.
And then once I understood the value we're providing, how to then sort of give it to people or to sell it to customers was the next step, and the way you do it. Um, you know, Initially I'd always thought, oh, it's just about opening more stores. Take a simple Clinton model or Hallmark model abroad
Yeah.
and then just replicate it here, in that sense. But we have to understand that, the market is slightly different, right? The basket values that we have might only work in certain areas. So you're better off growing vertically than just sort of horizontally, like many stores. Having few locations that are large in that sense. So understanding that and then getting us to how to sort of put it out there was very important. And then the big thing was obviously, making sure that we were solid on our quality, the processes, because again, I knew that I had to make this thing grow without me. And that was one of the pitfalls of how my dad ran it. Everything ran through him. And I did not want that to be my own case as well. So trying to build a system to create levels of sourcing and product variety and all that kind of stuff. We had to sort of create a system around that. So that was one of the challenging things for
But
me.
what did you say? Like, I mean, but what about in terms of people?
Yeah, these things that I'm saying are probably 80% people oriented in essence. It's in terms of executing it. It's one thing to draw up a nice PowerPoint and say, okay, this is the process of buying goods. The person that is actually going to do the thing is very important now in that sense. And then allowing them or making them understand what is in your vision to sort of execute what you want is also very important. So like I said, we had people that have been there for a long time, but their strengths maybe were used in other places, and then we had to infuse new people into the business as well.
Did you have to fire some people?
Oh yeah, of course. Very tough. I think that's the hardest thing I did for me, or the hardest thing for me to do. I don't actually, up to now, I still don't like firing people.
I mean, but I'm sure
Find it
that
so
time it
difficult.
was because also the fact that these are people that knew you very
Yeah,
well.
yeah. It was not tough. But I think we came to a mutual understanding of, look, it's just not going to work with us this way. And then we had to let them, those that couldn't hack it sort of go. And then some of the other ones, we had to sort of put them on some, new learnings and all that kind of stuff. And then some of them we just position their strength to places of where they excelled. That was it. But it just made me learn about business a lot, like some of the things that, you learn in schools now, or, it's not the length of time someone has spent, it's, the competency and stuff like that. 'Cause sometimes we reward people for loyalty instead of competency. And it's one of the surest ways to sort of mess you up in growth.
How were you able? Because from what you've mentioned, you guys like mapped out what exactly the value celebration offers. How do you reason it in your head behind the scenes? Like, what exactly do you map out in terms of this is the business of gifting?
That's a good question. Even up till now, we still iterate that, and I think very early I learned that it's not us selling the product to them. We need to hear from people. Like, it's the customer's voice that really, I think typically when I first came, what I tried to do was replicate what I saw where I grew, or what I realized, or what I had read about. So typically I'll go and look for, I had like a mind map of what I thought a gifting business should be like. And that was just basically from what I had seen, right? And then I was like, okay, let's replicate it here, exactly as it is. But then that misses out on the culture of the place, just logistics of the place. It misses out on, culture, especially because, for example, in Nigeria, for sympathy, or typically in the West, for sympathy, you send them white flowers, right? Lilies. That's why you send someone, if they're grieving or something like that. In Nigeria, if you send flowers to certain people, it's like, what's wrong with you? It just doesn't sit well in that sense. It's not our culture. They just want you to be there most of the time. They don't even, maybe later on you might give them something, or
maybe buy water.
Exactly. Fruits. You're better off even bringing a fruits basket, but flowers are not our thing in that essence. So, it's easy to sort of just completely miss it in that sense. So I think the key for us was really understanding what people wanted. But then we now had to then break it into different levels because, you know, gifting in February is very different from gifting in September, for example. Gifting in
Hmm.
February is very emotional and emotive and all of that.
Hmm.
Gifting in December is broad. You think gifting in December is because end of year everybody's doing something, in that sense. So we had to create different profiles and then start, understanding what worked for each of them. So every year we have to iterate, and
Hmm.
look at those profiles again and see, what works.
What works?
Yeah,
So I mean, I'm going to come to your audience
yeah,
evolution, right?
yeah.
Because I've known celebrations almost
Mhm,
all my life,
mhm,
really.
mhm, mhm.
But coming in from you as a person,
Hmm.
coming into this business, do
Hmm.
you ever feel like you're living someone else's dream, or has it
Hmm.
become your true calling?
Interesting. That it was something that challenged me for a long time. I think until recently, I went for a course, maybe I think 2023. Um, and we had like this session where we had to sort of, introspectively look into yourself. There's a lot, it's a leadership course.
Hmm.
And this question was kind of asked in a different way anyway. We had to sort of think about it in ourselves and all of that. I think it's in the line of someone that gets appointed as a CEO of, whatever company it is, but an external hire or something of that nature that doesn't understand the culture of the business. And yeah, like I had to think about it for myself. Like, would I have done this if the field was just open, And it goes back to the point of being an accidental entrepreneur. I think my true calling is in hosting, in helping things get better, right? Process improvement in that sense. So I think that I could transfer those skills elsewhere, irrespective of what it is. There's some things that I just don't like doing. I always look at businesses. There's a thing I call wahala factor of business.
Hmm.
For example, I think the hardest business personally to run is a school. Personally,
I think there's an element of it that is community service
really,
relations.
yeah, because
I agree with
the
you.
wahala factor of schools, especially secondary schools, biggest issue
Yes.
for me is dealing with the emotions of teenagers.
Uh,
The one that is falling in love with someone that is not meant to fall in love with, or the one that is about to scale fence to go and buy chicken and then, get hit by. I just cannot deal with any of that kind of stuff. So it's to me, it's a lot. So businesses like that, although I would have loved to run them, I would just run away from them because that wahala factor index is quite high there.
hmm.
And for us, with celebrations, it's a lower factor. Customers come into your space, so they only interact with you within that space, either online or physically, right? Um, so your interaction is kind of limited, but then what you do there is very important, right? It's not just about the products and buying. It's
Hmm.
different from a supermarket, in that sense, but similar in essence. So it was, I think for me, it was not a case of did I miss my calling? It was a case of, how do I make my calling work in this environment? And I think that's perfect for me. It was the perfect mix in
Hmm.
essence for this. Because generally, I think I like to host. That's my key thing.
What do you mean by hosts?
Ah, um, I like to have people around and just create an experience for them, irrespective.
Hmm.
So you find that with us, it's not just about, like I said, it's not just about we could put products on the shelf and just be like, go and take it. But then the way the way or your senses, your five senses,
Hmm.
need to be triggered when you enter a celebration store or if you interact with us online. That's the way I see it. And I create sort of so the visuals, the way the place smells, the way the things are positioned, then your interaction with people, the way we, interact with you has to be to a level. That's to me, that is one of the key cause of our values in terms of how, because everybody sells pretty much what we sell.
Hmm.
It's the way we do it that is very important to me in essence. So
Hmm.
when I say I like to host, um, dinner parties, stuff like that, it's very important. I like to make sure that they are very, we go
So how,
extra
how how does
mile.
that connect to celebrations?
Aha. So in terms of customer service,
Hmm.
most people just think customer service is just about the way you interact at the place. But for me, it's about once we get you to our doors, how do we retain you?
Hmm.
All through. That's very key. It's cheaper for us to do. It's much easier. But then the way we then host you makes you remember us and makes you want to come back, even if it's for the same thing. So we have people that come just at Valentine's, for example, or those that come at Christmas. But then, through the year, we try to increase that number as well.
So you've been able to resolve that conflict within yourself, whether it's
Yes, I think I've been able to balance it out that way. I'm like, this is the perfect place for me to be, in essence. But
wow.
then also learning from it and exporting into other things that I do, other investments that I have, or
Okay.
other ventures that I have is very important.
So you solve for the wahala factor.
Oh, big time.
What are some businesses you will never do, you never touch?
Okay, so I've told you the first one.
Yes,
The school. um,
hotels.
hotels hotels are similar. They're similar. However, you're dealing with adults, so there's a bit more. Yeah, the leeway is a bit better, but it's okay in that sense. I've been involved in a couple of hospitality things in that sense, in a way, so that's been fine. Schools are number one. I think I wouldn't do. I wouldn't do anything with. I wouldn't do a crypto business.
Why?
First of all, I don't know if anybody understands it. I've heard like 10 different explanations, and they're all very different.
Okay, I think I'll just say you don't understand it.
We can stay with that one. We can say I don't understand it. But yeah, but finance, I like finance businesses. I
Yeah,
like
but you're into
hospitality,
finance. You
but
have a
not
finance
not
background.
not crypto.
Hmm.
hmm No.
So, I mean, what were your key turning points in terms of transformation that you were able to like along the journey that helped it like scale, you
Yeah,
know?
yeah. I think the people was key for me. First person I hired when I came in is still with us.
Hmm.
Yeah, the second guy left, I think, 2 years ago. Um, you
Hmm.
know, um, and then I've been very lucky. I want to call it luck, but at the same time, maybe intentional in terms of the kind of people that come in initially are very key. So having those people sort of build the structures,
Hmm.
build the structures together with them was very important. Um, people, yeah, it's the biggest headache of most entrepreneurs, I would imagine.
Hmm.
So having the right set of people to build with was very important. But I think one thing that I was very keen on then was not necessarily the competence, but in terms of the temperament of the people that we hired. It was very important at the point, and then we just layered it with the competence. All of us were learning at the same time.
Hmm.
So yeah, so that was the key thing
So,
for me.
but how did you now go from evolving? I mean, it was typically brick and mortar,
Yeah, yeah,
um, bringing in the whole rebranding
yeah, yeah,
and
yeah. We made mistakes, so we
digital.
made
What are
mistakes,
some
so
mistakes you
we
made?
made some mistakes. I mean, so like I said, understanding what the business is, like I said, I thought replicating just open multiple stores. So we had locations that we opened that just did not work,
Hmm.
right? Um, we also needed to understand the country we're in as well and its own peculiarities. The cities we're in. When you do business in Lagos, it's not the same as doing business in Abuja, for example. You had to understand that. So we had some locations that we opened that just didn't work.
Hmm.
Realized that it was better for us to grow in a larger scale rather than have sort of multiple locations around. That was very important. The digital side, it took me a lot because I was not convinced by Nigeria's emerging
Digital adoption.
e-commerce adoption. It took me a while. It took me a while to get there, and it's still, it's still. You look at some of the guys that spent big, and some of the guys that are, early in, and how they struggled as well.
Hmm.
I think that was one of the big things. Also, the culture of gifting. A lot of people, we just assumed that it was last minute gifters that would want to use digital space, right? That was wrong in some instances. Um, Found that social commerce is a bigger player than e-commerce, for example, for gifting, because people want to
Hmm.
interact a little bit more if they're intentional about the gift,
Hmm.
right? Or she doesn't like red, she likes blue, she doesn't like this, the scent has to be that. It's a lot easier to do social commerce wise than e-commerce, for example. So we didn't even have a social. We just looked at social commerce as a channel. We didn't look at it as a proper investment thing to do until recently.
Really?
Yeah.
How recent?
2 years ago.
Okay. So, but is it
It's
paying
bigger
off?
than e-commerce for us.
Explain.
Just make more money from it, not
No,
from
no.
our
What I
e-commerce
mean is,
channel.
like, what's the difference between
That
yeah,
I don't know. Again, I think
social? You say social
social
commerce.
commerce. So selling through WhatsApp, selling through Instagram,
Oh, okay, okay, okay,
selling through those
okay.
sort of channels. That's
Oh,
what I
okay.
mean.
Then okay, yeah,
Than
okay, I
selling
get what you mean.
through, see, an e-commerce site that is built for just clicks
Clicks and okay, okay,
and
and then
checkouts.
basket.
Yes,
Okay, okay, okay.
yes.
Because I was trying to understand, like, okay,
Okay, okay, okay, okay. No, 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 no. We now
so
look at them as, yeah,
you have a
because the journey through them is different, right, from the customer's point of view. Customer feels like they're
because there's a form
interacting
of
with someone.
interaction.
Exactly,
Okay,
exactly. Which is, it mimics what happens in the store to a large extent in
okay.
that sense. Yeah.
So, but I mean, what has been like for you the most emotionally rewarding moment in your experience so far?
I think it's the growth of people, though.
Hmm.
I think that's it's very big. Like again, like we have a lot of people. What's the word? Low. Is it attrition? Is that the right word I'm looking
Yeah,
for? Yeah,
yeah.
rates. Um, so people stay, right? So for me, the key thing is seeing them from when they came and where they are now.
Why do people stay?
Good question. I think it's the culture of the place, the workspace that we've built. I know a lot of people like to use the word family and all of that in their key things and none of that, but we really try to create. We want you to be comfortable. I just figured that look, if you're working here, you're spending half of your lifetime with me or with us, interacting with this brand, right?
Yeah.
So you need to make it feel like home as much as possible,
Hmm.
right? So in terms of the comfort level, we try to go above and beyond in terms of that. So not just in terms of pay or whatnot. I think it's in terms of the smaller things. You understand? We have very key. We have a way of sort of making sure that you enjoy the work you do. It's
Hmm.
very important. I think one of my key philosophies around people is that if we don't take care of you, you can't take care of our customers, right? And
Hmm.
taking care of our customers is our ultimate goal. So your comfort has to be paramount for us,
Hmm.
first of all, and it goes across the company in terms of both retail staff and all of that. So yeah, so that's so seeing the growth of people is very, very so important. I have there's a staff we have. The way we hired her was very interesting. She's working with a pharmacy down the road somewhere in Musetu,
Hmm.
and I think one of our people, senior people, went to buy something there, and they're like, and the next morning she was like, we have to hire this person, and she was not in school. She was a very young girl and stuff like that. And we thought to her, I asked her, look, do you want to go to school while doing this thing? And she said no, she didn't really think she wanted to, but eventually she did. We worked with her in terms of her growth. She's one of our deputy managers now.
Wow.
Fantastic person. Her smile will light up any room, that kind of stuff. So that growth for me is what like really, really drives me. And because I think sometimes in Nigeria we overthink things. We just need to get people in jobs, right? I think that's my biggest thing. I always say it all the time. As much as anything, that's our biggest SDG goal. Let's just get people into jobs as much as possible. When I say jobs, good paying jobs, right?
Okay.
So if we can do that at whatever scale it is, I'm happy to sort of keep doing that.
That's interesting. I mean, what does excellence typically means for you guys at celebrations, and
Mm,
how have you been able to build that culture? Because you speak a lot about, I think if there's anything I would draw as a theme to
mm,
this conversation we've been having so far is
mm.
people.
Yeah,
I think that's at the
yeah,
heart of everything that you guys do.
yeah.
But when it comes to people too, next word that comes to me is culture,
Oh yeah.
right? Because I mean, typically there are three tripods, right? People, systems, and culture, right?
Culture, yeah.
Um, so when you're talking a lot about people, but have you been able to drive a culture of
Mm,
excellence?
mm, mm, mm.
And how have you been able to have that? Because I mean, when you start having brick and mortar businesses, you have various locations. So
Yeah.
how do you maintain that culture of excellence?
It's hard. It's really hard, man. I mean, when we opened outside of Abuja, we opened in Lagos. That was our toughest challenge.
Hmm.
Figuring out a way to make sure that we're able to sort of have the same vibe in both. When I say vibe, I mean culture in both locations. Um, so we tried different things, sending someone from here there to be part of the team. Um, we tried having, our senior manager spend a lot more time there than here and that kind of thing and all of that. But I think fundamentally, people just watch what's happening at the top
Hmm.
anywhere. That's why a lot of
Up,
eyes.
down.
Exactly. People, it's just what it is. In Nigeria today, everybody looks at Abuja, right? And then they forget their states and what's happening with their governors. Everybody just looks at Abuja alone. But those governors are little are
They are
little gods.
they are the ones actually determining a lot.
Exactly, they understand. So typically people do that. So it's a lot of responsibility for me as well. And that's why going back to when you said I started from I turned 40 in a few days, for example. But then
Congratulations.
the joke in the office is that I've been 40 for the past 15 years. Um, Whether it was me, I don't know, I just felt a sense of responsibility. But in terms of carrying out that excellence, it starts from me, I think. No, I think, I know it does. It has to come from me. So there are certain things that I will not let slide. You miss an email to a vendor or a supplier, well, you shouldn't. If I don't do it, you shouldn't. That sort of thing. So correcting those things very early then gets people to sort of understand that this is what it is. Taking customers' complaints very seriously, taking customers, interactions very seriously. The whole thing, we used to have this whole journey of a customer from the fact that a lot of our customers have grown with us, right? So some of them, even from secondary school,
Yeah.
they used to bring them in school buses. I remember Loyola kids used to come in buses to the store to buy cards at Christmas time, and now you know they are
Adults, yeah,
executives, they are
exactly.
whatever it is. So it doesn't matter which customer it is. Sometimes it's easy for people to say, "Oh, I want to profile people and all of that." So we're very intentional about making sure that look, once you're in our space, we're for you in
Hmm.
that level. Yeah,
So, but how have you been able to manage? I mean, building celebration,
yeah,
it's a premium business,
yeah.
um, in a price sensitive market
Mm.
like Nigeria, where, and also layering on that dollar
Ooh,
volatility.
that's it's our biggest challenge, to be honest. The volatility is just is ridiculous. Um, we play in a premium space, right? So we're not exactly luxury. We're not affordable in essence. In that sense, we're kind of premium up there. So there's a bit of elasticity that our customers generally have,
Hmm.
right? Um, what we do in essence is to just make sure that we source right. I think people value that quality that we provide and are willing to pay, go the extra for it. Um, I think the other thing that it has also forced us to do is to grow our local vendors to become sort of better suppliers for us.
Okay.
We have a guy from Kano who makes our baskets. This guy literally, has set up his little community in his village from the sales from us, but we keep improving him. We've gone to Kano to go and teach his people how to weave or how to do the stuff in the sense in what we want,
Hmm.
so that it matches the quality of what we would have purchased, from Europe or whatever. So
Hmm.
that is the value that I think we take our time to just sort of make things better. I think it's very important in that sense.
So basically, you solve it by being market sensitive and sourcing locally.
Pretty much, yes. There's that. The sensitivity in terms of the market is that one is very important because we have an array of products. It's easy for us, of product categories rather. It's easy for us to say, okay, look, with fragrance, there's nothing you can do. If the price
The price.
is $65, it is $65. But then with other things, then we can sort of create some levels
Hmm.
of, with gift wrap and stuff like that. So we change it around and we mix
So,
it up
but
for
you
customers.
guys have not, have you guys done any form of vertical integration whereby,
That's what you mean.
yeah, like celebrations is making its own cards,
His
is
own
making
cards,
its
yeah,
own,
yeah, yeah. So we are doing that now,
hmm.
especially in
Oh,
across
really?
product types. Yeah, we have a brand internally. In fact, what so it's actually quite funny. But yeah, we have a brand internally that we are launching now. It's called Home and Found.
Home and
Found.
okay.
But it's a home and living sort of brand, and we're making the products internally.
Mm.
With the cards, we try to still work with local suppliers that make cards. It's easier for us that way, because they allow them to be creative as much as possible, and we just retail for them.
So do you guys like maybe give them like a collection
Oh
of
yeah,
this is
you
for
have
them
to
home?
now. You have to. So all
Oh.
those kind of things. I think when I came in, 100% of our items were sourced abroad. I think now we're about only about 65%. So about 40% are sourced locally.
Hmm.
Yeah.
I mean, well done. So,
You
but,
have
but
to.
I mean, what's the difference between, I mean, competition? Let's talk about
Mm-hmm.
competition.
Mm-hmm.
So, I think the challenge I have with your category
Yeah.
is that, like you said, everyone is selling everything you are selling,
Yeah.
just not the way you are selling it.
Yeah.
So, how have you been able to go from not just selling items
Mm. Mm.
to selling an experience? Because I think
Mm.
the whole idea of, well, for me, one of the reasons why I go celebrations is because I'm very, very lazy at picking gifts.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I go to celebrations because I know this is a gift shop.
Yeah. You'll find something.
Uh,
Or someone will help you find
Someone will help
something.
me find something.
I know. Again, I guess you're right. People sell what we do. It's again, and our industry is a bit fragmented in the sense that there are people that specialize in cards, people that specialize in watches, people that specialize in fragrance or whatnot. Um, for us, it's about having the right curation, right, of items that we think
Hmm.
people would want. Recently, we've started involving our customers a lot in our selection processes. So we
Okay.
have like focus groups and all that kind of stuff, and then they come in and they select and like, okay, this is what we want for this season. But it's also about creating the systems right. So now we have two broad seasons. So we
Okay.
have almost like an autumn, winter, and spring season for products, so that it changes often enough that people feel there's freshness in that sense. But back to your point, or back to your question, I think the key thing for us is that we've been able to sort of harness years of doing the same thing, and realize that it's just in a different season for different people. That's all.
Hmm.
Um, and And I think hearing from our customers is also one of the big issues or big things that we have used. We really now infuse them into how we select or source
Select or source
products.
products.
Yeah, it's very big.
What's been the hardest decision you've had to make on this journey?
Well, I'll share one because it's recent, um, which is around like, taking on some level of private um, equity capital into the business.
Oh, okay.
Yes, I think it was a hard one because, you're trying to remain whole in essence.
Hmm.
Um,
I was going to come to that actually because I was going to ask like, are you guys taking in investments?
yeah. So yes, we
Hmm.
are. And I think, the decision of whether to or how to sort of take it in a right way was very, very important. But then, I think what we've done is we have a board that is external to the family. We've created a system that allows the family interact with the board and the business, as different entities, so that all interests are taken care of. I think that's our journey in the last year, creating the structure for it to work.
Yeah.
Uh,
I'm happy you mentioned so I mean I'm happy you mentioned structure.
yeah.
One of the things I've never understood is how to structure a family business.
Mm.
Now, you guys have one that has gone for like 30 something years now.
Mm-hmm.
How does it work? What have you
Mm.
learned?
It's very. There's a lot of.
What are the gooby traps? What should one avoid? What should one look for?
The funny thing is, let me put it this way, right? Now, if you're running a business with let's say your significant other, let's say your spouse or something, it's different from running with your siblings,
Hmm.
right? Now, your siblings, you guys are probably guys. You grow up together mostly, right? Except the ones that are very annoying. So, your guys, most of the time, it will work easily. The problem comes when you have or the problem will come when you have your kids or your the cousins start interacting and down the line. They're not your guys. You did not grow up together. So I might know that my sister really doesn't care about maybe XXXY, but my cousin might care about, or their cousin might care about that. So I think that's where it gets a bit complex. With family, it's been easy for us because we kind of all share the same vision, and our whole thing was the goal for us at the initial stage was let's keep this thing going. So once we achieved that, it was easy for us to sort of lay out on it and say, okay, let's go for growth, let's go for this and all of that. So it's very easy. So now with structure, there's a lot of companies that help around it. We had to hire a top consulting firm to help us sort of design how the business will interact with the family, and like a constitution guiding how we did things. What will happen if they need to fire me if I start behaving? And all of that is all written in there, and we all agree to it because it's important that we have this continue for when we are not here.
Do you think you would like to hand over this business to your children?
If they're interested. Honestly, I think if they're interested, why not? And they might not be. I think the hardest part is preparing your mind that they might not be interested. It'll be painful a little bit because you feel like it's something that you've worked hard on and you've tried to sort of do for, but they might not be. So it's more important that the business continues, irrespective of who is leading it. Yeah,
Wow.
but at the same time, there's got to be family involved in the decision making. So yeah.
So, coming about living up to your father's legacy
Hmm.
and building on it,
Hmm.
would you say you have been true to it?
Hmm. Um,
Do you sit down sometimes and say,
I don't try.
at least I'm sure you'll be proud?
I find it very hard to self-adulate. So I like
Fair
other
enough.
people to do it.
Fair enough.
I would say that I'm 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 I'm
Or does
okay.
that guide your decision making?
It does, 100%. Yeah. I try to think about some of the times of what he would do in certain instances. What I remember him doing was going far and beyond for customers a lot. So I still try to make sure that that is one of the things I do. I always have time for them. And although they try to send me away from the store these days, they say I like giving discounts too much when I'm there, so they don't like my presence. But yeah, I try to interact as much as possible with customers. I think it's one of the best ways to sort of really understand.
Do you sometimes wish your father was there to just teach you
See,
some things?
of course now. Of course, there are some nights you're just like, what the hell am I doing here? Yeah, like I wish this decision could just be, stuff like that. It's usually when it comes to, it's really people, people issues. But yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
but I mean, but okay, so would you say celebration is for you, is it more of profit,
Hmm,
legacy, purpose?
hmm, hmm.
How do you interpret it?
Interesting. I like money, so profit is good.
Profits, yes.
But honestly, it's legacy. Uh, it's
Okay.
it's for me, the vision I have is something that exists way beyond me.
Hmm.
I just way beyond me. I want something I don't want it to be tied around my own personality at all. I like the fact that the business stays by itself, and people know celebrations before they know who I am or who the family is or whatnot. But I like that the stories that we have, I like the fact that it's a family run business. I like that to stay. I think it's very important. I think it's important for other people too. We like to support small businesses that,
Yeah, I mean, typically you
yeah,
source from.
yeah, exactly. So, and it's a good encouragement to say that, okay, this thing, yeah, that started from this small can be this way. Mm.
But do you see what's something that you've learned
Mm.
from running celebrations over the past 15 years
Hmm.
that actually, I mean, I think it's going to be people based, but
Yeah.
what is something that you've learned that you think every founder might be missing, that you feel like, oh, I started like this and I learned this,
Mm.
and I think everyone needs to learn this?
Hmm. Honestly, the big thing is around hero leadership and what you call. There's another one. There's another name they call it. It's very easy to feel the need to solve every problem by yourself.
Hmm.
I think once you're able to achieve that level of, I need to delegate this just for the growth of the company itself, I think then you've really achieved success. I was reading Femi Otedola's book, and
Making it big. I enjoyed that
yeah,
book.
yeah, it was actually quite interesting.
Yeah.
I mean, people gave me grief. I don't know why. Before
A
reading,
lot of people did
before
not read
reading,
it.
yeah, they didn't read it. They just thought,
They just
well,
mm.
but it was actually quite good. His stories around Xenon was very,
Yeah,
yeah,
very good.
exactly. So so he started Xenon and he was everywhere. It was
Yes.
about him in that sense, and I think once you're able to clock that, look, this can only take you this far. Um, you might be wealthy. You probably will be wealthy. That's the
Mhm.
truth, But something happens to you, and I think maybe the fact of what happened to my father that really, resonated with me. But something can happen to you. You might not be making the right decision, so you need to be able to delegate and allow people to do things. I think that's the biggest thing. So once you're able to cross that, you'll find this journey a lot more easier.
But do you find it that maybe if you were, let's say you were running, how will I put it now?
Mm.
Let's say you were starting from scratch.
Mm-hmm.
How would you approach
Mm.
building a business?
With the knowledge I have now,
Yes.
I think it will be so much easier. I think the first thing I'll do is really get a board. First thing I think is very important, and I think it's very uh, underrated.
Really? Why?
Because I think what we do now is that we get boards because maybe we want to raise, so we can look for profiles that are just good enough
Cool.
to
Yeah.
make us shine. But I really use my board to soundboard. They are like people that I trust to talk to about certain issues.
Mm.
So whether it's about people, whether it's about the growth or whatever it is in that sense, or
Mm.
navigating Nigeria as it may be, um, it just helps you not be alone. It's very easy to be. The I think one of the things I didn't mention was that I felt very alone at the initial stage.
Mm.
Alone in the sense that you're hiring everybody in the business and everybody's looking up to you.
Yeah, yeah. Everybody's
Do you
sitting on your
understand?
head, everything. Yeah.
Yeah, and you're just sitting down in your office and thinking, that kind of stuff. So that the board allows me to have a soundboarding effect for
Yeah.
just decision making. So that's the first thing I'll do really. But you have to select the right people.
Hmm.
Uh,
How do you go about selecting the right people?
ah, it goes back to this thing like I said about understanding what it is that you are, the temperament of the business, that kind of thing, and all of that. Sometimes you need people that will shake things up a little bit, obviously, but I think it's just understanding the season you are in, and the kind of people that you think would help in that season.
Hmm.
Yeah, it's very key.
So, but if you were to go back in time, let's say
Hmm.
you're going back in time,
Hmm.
and you are going to give your 25-year-old an advice at coming in, what would you be telling that guy?
uh, well, two things. One will be, don't be afraid of don't be afraid of change. I think that's one of the big things.
Hmm.
I'll tell myself then. Uh, don't be afraid of change, and that's just because just things will definitely change. Just as simple as that.
Hmm.
Embrace it in terms of that. And then two will be to talk to people or interact out more. Don't internalize things. Don't keep things to yourself. In essence, yeah. I
Hmm.
think that would be those are the two key things I would really want to improve on.
Hmm.
Yeah,
So, but now that you've taken ownership
yeah.
of the brand and you look at it as a form of expression,
Mm-hmm.
a form of legacy, a
Mm-hmm.
form of, profit making,
Mm,
taking care of people and everything, how would you say you define a picture of success
mm,
for celebration?
mm,
If we're
mm,
going to zoom in 10, 20 years.
mm. On a success will be for me when I'm not there and there's constant growth. When I say I'm not there, no, I still want to chop life. But when I'm not leading operationally, and then the business is growing steadily, successfully out
So
there.
so so let's talk about capital.
Yeah.
I mean, you came into a business. Obviously, you needed capital to steer up growth. You needed
Hmm.
capital to this,
Hmm.
and then obviously for any business, there
Yeah.
are sometimes your own capital, sometimes
Yeah.
external capital. How have you approached this through the years in terms of where you made mistakes and maybe you
Hmm.
were bleeding more than you needed to?
Hmm.
How have you been able to navigate relationship with the banks,
Hmm.
relationship with
Hmm.
private equity firms,
Yeah. Yeah.
and all
Yeah.
of that?
I mean, to be fair, I think we've largely grown organically through the years.
At what cost?
Exactly. That's my own sleepless nights. We've that's what we've done. Do you understand? But I think, would I have, if I'd known better, I would have jumped on some level of external capital earlier. That's the truth. However, I'll caveat that with saying that the country we are in can create some level of uncertainty for you to go into that sort of thing easily. I think that's one of the issues that we have. Um, I needed to be sure that we're ready for it and that the country will not fail us, the market will not fail us. So that was very big. But in essence, we've grown organically. But in I would have gone for external capital earlier.
So, but what has been your most challenging moment?
I think figuring out the right way to scale
Hmm.
has been
The most challenging.
yes, it's been very challenging. The right way, not scaling, the right way to do it.
What does the right way mean?
Just something that is that's sustainable.
Sustainable.
Yes, yes. It's easy to just jump and because there's cash available or you see it there and then
Just open up
you
a
just open
branch.
up and then you completely lose everything. So that's been the hardest. But once you conquer that, it's a straight journey.
What's been your saddest day?
Oof. Since assuming it, it would have been in the middle of COVID though.
I was about to ask you the COVID
Ooh, it
question.
would have been in the middle of COVID, man.
How did you survive COVID?
Barely. We had no digital presence. We all relied on brick and mortar, and then all of a sudden, you're shut down for 60 days. So I think it was maybe the second week, and then I looked at our what they call it, our
Books.
POS software, and you just see 00000 for 14 days. So this is something that it just never happened. Every day there's, the only day is Christmas Day when we don't open up. I think I almost had a panic attack. I probably did. Probably had the maddest panic attack. I think I was walking around Abuja. I was in Abuja and I was by myself. My family were not here. And I walked past one of the stores. I know it was very eerie. I don't know if you remember it.
Yeah, I remember.
It was just eerie. You just hear leaves. And then you hear a car whistle by and all of that. And I almost lost it. I was like, what if this continues for life? Yeah,
So did
that
this
was
force
sad.
you guys to make any
Oh
changes?
yeah, 100%. So I think, when they started opening up slowly, we had to start doing curbside pickups and all of that, and that just accelerated our digital adoption.
Mm.
So I think the next year we had to realize that this
This digital, we can't ignore it.
you can't play with it. But it's our fastest growing channel.
Hmm.
Yeah. So sometimes necessity
It's the mother of invention, like they say.
pushes you.
So, I mean, but looking at the global space, what
Mm,
are your aspirations for celebrations? Do you see it
mm.
growing Africa?
I do. I think Nigeria has some sweet soft power that we've not really tapped. Music, obviously, culturally, some sports side of all of that. But the music and culture is very big, and I think we can export that globally, even in gifting.
Hmm.
So I'm very interested to see. And I think we also have a good testing ground. These guys that come for our community of diasporans
Diasporans,
that
yeah.
come for Dirty December, especially, a
Hmm.
good market to test out some of these things on. Obviously they have an affinity to Nigeria, but it's a good testing spot. But I really think, I'm very impressed to see some of the restaurants abroad doing well. And I don't see why we cannot export some of these things, some of our designs in terms of gifting or whatnot.
What brand globally have you seen that is currently where you want to be, that you would have
Mm.
loved? Say if you're going to have a collaboration, Celebrations was going to have a collaboration with a global brand,
Right.
maybe to launch a special edition, something.
Of something, right?
What will it be?
I really like the Nigerian brands. I love the fashion stuff.
Really?
I really do.
I would have thought you'd have mentioned maybe Hallmark.
No, no. Where do we Hallmark? That's in the past. That's in the past. But I really like the Nigerian brands, and I think that's what the market is. I like stuff with the fashion ones. I like stuff that Dialab do. I like stuff that This Is Us do. Some of the drink companies, Pedro's, stuff
Yeah,
like that.
Dialab.
Yeah,
I've seen her work.
yeah, Dialab is really cool. So, if you could do stuff with them and do it on the global stage, that'd be fantastic.
So
Yeah.
rather than, so are we expecting like a store in Senegal,
Oh
a
yeah.
store in?
Yes, it's part of our plans. Some of the
Hmm.
Francophone countries and the West African English-speaking ones as well. Yeah.
I mean, I look forward to seeing that. I mean, I hope that when I go to Ghana, I'll see.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
So, but outside work,
Yeah.
in terms of like running celebrations,
Mm.
what has been your best industry to invest in?
Good question. In Nigeria,
Yeah, well, globally.
globally, I'm a very safe investor. So
Oh,
yes, typically.
okay.
So I would say in Nigeria, for me, I think I like the hospitality side of things, but I more of the food side. It's something I enjoy doing. I love going out to eat a lot. So investment in that sector is something that
You're open to.
yeah, done it actually. So it's
Oh,
quite
really?
yes.
Care to say?
No. But yes. So I'm very open to that.
Yeah, but
Anything that has customers that are coming in and stuff like that is very relatable for me. So I quite enjoy that.
hmm,
Yeah.
okay. I mean, well, but what about as a business? What has
As a
been the
business.
best things you guys have invested in that you see this was the best thing we ever did?
Huh. As a business, let me see. Uh, I'd say maybe into our supply chain, some of our suppliers. Yeah, investing in them like, you know, bigly.
Like Donald Trump would say.
Like Donald Trump would say, yes. So yes, some of our smaller vendors, we've, taken them on board and sort of invested in their chain. So it's actually it's worked out for us, worked out for them.
Mutually
Solid,
beneficial.
mutually beneficial, fantastic.
Hmm.
Yeah.
But if, for example,
Hmm.
can we, I mean, Hallmark, for example, like I spoke about,
Hmm.
I mean, they do movies, they
Hmm.
do,
Hmm.
do you guys have plans to also follow that same trajectory?
To turn into a media company.
Yeah, well, I mean,
Well, so work with takeout.
why
Something
not?
like that. Why not? But the funny thing is, I don't know if you've heard of this about how every business is now having
Every business is a media
it's a
company.
media company
Yeah.
now, right? Exactly. So you've got to create this, content, whatever it is, in that respect. But that is the natural. That I think for me, that's the natural progression for us
Hmm.
working together with like a media company. I think that is. I don't know about TV. TV is tough. It's tough and all of
Not
that.
now.
Not now. But you don't know how things will go. But like a theme park, stuff like that, the way Disney has done it, I think
Yeah.
that's something that we could easily do.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, animation.
Animations, exactly, in that sense, like feature stuff. Yeah, I think that's something that we could easily do. Yeah,
I
and I can
mean,
see the line towards it.
the lines towards it,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Because I think that will really work.
Yeah,
So,
100%.
but outside work, what do you do for fun?
Uh,
Hosting people.
apart from hosting people, which I love,
You need to invite me to one of those.
100%, 100%. You have a good time. I'm a very suffering football fan. I love football a lot.
How do you cope with the highs and lows of your club? Because I know
Uh,
you're a Man U fan.
it's actually quite it's strange. It really bugs me, man. It really bugs me when we lose games. Everybody knows in the office. But yeah, in my mind, 2013 was the last time football existed in my timeline. Anything after that. But yeah, I do that. I've recently got into golf. You'd be surprised how addictive that thing is.
I hear a lot. I've never.
So once you catch the bug, man,
That's what
it's
I hear. I hear that if I catch the bug, I will
and
never
I'm not
stop.
even a good golfer. It's not like, I'm shooting.
No, I heard it's not even about how good you are. It's just
It just, yeah, you just want to play it all the time. Yeah, but yeah, those are things that keep me happy now. Yeah.
what's the best gift you've ever received?
Ooh. Interesting. My
And what's
wife
the best you've ever given?
I've ever given. I think my wife gifted me an experience recently, and
Hmm.
yeah, absolutely loved it.
Okay.
It was
That's
really
nice.
nice. It was really,
So maybe that's something celebrations can do. Maybe start organizing experiences too.
exactly. It's in the works. And from me, what was the best gift I've ever given? Whew. I'll say I also gifted an experience actually.
Hmm.
Yes, and I think it was very well appreciated.
So we see celebrations, the businessman, the
Yes.
MD. What's one quirky fact about you that we don't know?
Huh. Let's see. In my heart of hearts, in my deep heart of hearts, I believe I can dance.
You look good, Charles. So I'm thinking maybe you might be able to front. front. I mean, dancing is relative.
It's relative, but in my heart of I swear I believe it. I
You
don't
used to
care what
dance
people
to
I don't care what people think.
Afrobeat.
Yeah, okay, except leg work. My legs just don't move fast enough. But every other thing works fine. It works fine, I promise.
So what are the top five music on your playlist?
Oh, right now, interesting. The most recent one, recent, right?
Hmm.
Dexter Dabbs.
Hmm.
That's number one so far. Uh, Number two is Burna Boy. Definitely is always there up top. It's always in the top five. Number three is let me see. Recently, recently I've been listening to The Weeknd again.
Okay.
Kendrick Lamar, and this guy. There's this. It's only one song, but it's been on repeat. Monarchy,
What is that?
Chandelier.
Oh,
The song is called Chandelier, I think.
okay.
It's
I'll listen to it.
a Nigerian act. Yeah.
Hmm.
Those are the five recently. But Dexter Daps, man, recently.
Dexter Dubs.
Yep.
Okay, I'll check it out. I'll check it out. So, what are some books that do you learn by books?
I do recently.
So what are some
I do
books
a
that you
few.
would like recommend? Give us three book recommendations.
Bob Iger's book is really nice. That's the head of Disney.
Mm,
Okay, so Bob Iger's Ride of a Lifetime. That's my number one. I really like that. Um, Phil Knight, yeah, Nike, yeah,
Shoe
Shoe
Dog.
Dog, yes, that's another one. Um, I wouldn't say it's recent, but I really like Femi Todola's book just from the perspective of a Nigerian businessman.
Entrepreneur.
Yeah, that's nice.
Yeah,
And they need to write more, to be honest.
yeah, I've been enjoying some. I actually
Mm.
read Living the Tarmac. I
Okay,
enjoyed.
yeah, I haven't finished that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Living the
yeah.
Tarmac. I enjoyed it.
But it feels like it's just about one transaction, right?
Yeah,
That's
but how
why.
they bought the bank.
Okay. Yeah, how they bought the
How they
back. So
bought the
just
bank.
one
So just
transaction.
one
It doesn't
transaction.
feel full. I want
Yeah,
to see
it's
more.
actually you're actually right. You pieced
Yeah,
it well.
yeah.
Risks and Return.
Okay.
Yomi Jemi Bewan, how they
I've read
started
that.
Cardinal
That is
Stone.
Cardinal Stone. That's a good
Yes,
one.
we had him on
That's a
the
good one.
podcast.
Oh, nice.
That's one of our best
Yeah,
episodes.
that's a very good one. Risk and return is good. Yeah, that's a good one.
Uh,
Yeah, that's true.
and that book I've read by Nigerian is obviously making it big.
Mm.
Um, Unfortunately, I've not read this one yet. Africa Rise and Shine.
Okay, I haven't seen that one.
That's Jimovia.
Jim Ovie, okay,
So I really
I
don't know so
I
much.
haven't, I
But
haven't.
another one that I read
Austin Avuru's book is
Austin
really good.
Afuro's book,
That's a good one. That's a
My
good book.
Entrepreneurship Journey.
Yes, Manchester, that's
I
a
made
good book.
all my partners read it.
Yeah,
Like
that's a very good book.
that was a very
Yeah,
good
that's a
book.
very
I
good book.
actually think I want to
I
make
think
a movie out of it.
he's one of I really look up to him. He's one of I think Nigeria's greatest minds.
And most people
Personally,
don't know him.
they don't. That's the truth. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Black Bell. At
Yes.
least no Black Bell.
His wife is Black Belt.
His wife is Black Bell, but
Yes.
it's a family run. It's fantastic. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
okay.
good.
So so final question.
Yeah.
Would you consider yourself an entrepreneur or a professional?
I'm a learned entrepreneur. I've learned it.
Hmm.
Yes, I've learned it, and I
I
think
think people can learn it.
I think people can learn it. I don't think it's there's that whole question of is it in your. I think you can learn it.
Hmm.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Mr. Dele.
Thank
I
you.
really appreciate your time. It was really an
Appreciate.
enlightening session.
Appreciate.
Thank you
Appreciate.
so much.
Thanks for having me as well.
Guys, like I promised you, it was going to be a wonderful episode, and I did enjoy it because he spoke from an experience that I don't find so many people having, which is coming on board. Most of the time in Africa, we struggle,
Mhm.
whereby you see businesses that start, but they don't continue after the passing of the founder. But this one business that has been able to do that, and I really, really was glad that we're able to enter into the mind of someone who is driving that currently. So, like I always tell you guys, like, share, subscribe, comment in the section below. If you want to keep up with him, check the comment section. You will see access to his social media of the brands that he represents. And I look forward to catching you on the next episode.